Hey there everyone, it's Coach Jeff from CrossFit Seeds a Day. Today's workout, the first part, we're going to be working some movements to build some strength and stability. The workout will be 4 rounds. Each movement I'm going to ask you to do 8 to 12 reps with. Later rounds at heavier weights, maybe less reps. Earlier rounds with lighter weights, maybe more. So 8 to 12 reps per round, 4 rounds of movements. The movements will be a floor press, so bench press lying on the floor with one arm, dumbbell or kettlebell, while holding a hip bridge position. So picture your hips are elevated and you're giving single arm presses. You do 8 to 12 reps on each arm. Second movement, tempo overhead squats. So with a PVC, an empty barbell, a light barbell, depending on how strong and mobile you are and comfortable you are in an overhead squat, you're going to do a 3-second descent. So down, 3, 2, 1, boom, right back up. So 8 to 12 overhead squats with a 3-second descent. And then we're going to do an anchored leg raise. So you're going to put your arms or hands under something. We're going to use a pair of dumbbells today in our example. The bottom of a couch, the bottom of a bed, anything that's elevated off the floor a little bit is an excellent anchor, and you're going to use that anchor to engage your lats, engage your core, and you're going to do a leg raise where you're bringing your legs up in the air. Picture sort of like a toes to bar, knees to chest movement. We're going to, once we get up there, do a 3-second descent. So 3, 2, 1 with control on the way down. Okay, so you're going to have 4 rounds, 8 to 12 reps per movement per round of a floor press with a hip extension hold. You're going to have your tempo overhead squats with a 3-second down and explosive up, and then you're going to have your leg raises again with a 3-second controlled descent. So 4 rounds of that. So you get a lot of core strength, a lot of hip strength, upper body strength in that workout. I think it'll be challenging. Once we're done with that, the second part of the workout is going to be a very fast, very high energy workout. We're going to do 6 rounds for time, though we're going to give you a certain amount of time to do it in, so you may not make it to 6 rounds. We're going to be giving you about 14 or 15 minutes. Each round will have 16 reps of a hang snatch with a dumbbell, alternating hands, or it could be a hang clean and jerk. So basically a dumbbell from the hang into the overhead position. If you have a shoulder issue, you can clean the dumbbell, but if not, you should be snatching it. So 16 alternating arm snatches, 50 pounds for the men, 35 for the women, but certainly scale it to anything that is comfortable for you. It should be a weight that you can do all 16 pretty much unbroken with or pretty quickly with. And then we're going to do what's called an 8-count bodybuilder. So basically, it's an 8-count movement. It comprises of coming to the floor, kicking your legs back, doing a push-up, coming up, and then kicking the legs out, bringing the legs together before you stand back up. So it's going to be 16 of those dumbbell snatches, alternating arms, 8 reps of your 8-count bodybuilder, 1 minute rest to follow, mandatory rest, because we want you to be very aggressive with those 2 movements, and then you're going to repeat that for 6 rounds. So again, 16 snatches, 8 bodybuilders, minute rest. We're going to give you 15 minutes to try to finish 6 rounds. If you don't get 6 rounds done in 15 minutes, no worries. For some of you, if you felt like you needed to scale the reps down a little, maybe the snatches are fine, but that bodybuilder movement is a little challenging for you. Feel free to drop that 8 down to 6 or 5, something like that. Same thing with the snatch. We just want you to be able to move well. Okay, so that'll be our workout. So let's get warmed up and get ready. Okay, so let's go through a pretty thorough warm-up since we have a lot of dynamic movements today. So if you have a PVC pipe or a broomstick or something light and long, let's grab that, please. We're going to do pass-throughs first. So with a wide grip, depending on how mobile your shoulders are, we're going to do a pass-through. That's straight arms, shrug, reach the broomstick or PVC up and around, touch your lower back, and bring it back. Side profile, you notice the elbows will not bend. Everything is long and smooth. And we're working to open up the shoulder and open up the upper back. So I want you to do about 30 seconds worth of these. If you're able to keep inching your hands in a little bit without the elbows bending or any major discomfort in the shoulder, you should do that to help increase your mobility level. So 30 seconds of your pass-through. From there, we're going to go to that tempo overhead squat for 30 seconds. So you're going to press the barbell overhead. Remember, an overhead squat, your feet are right under your shoulders, locking out the bar overhead. So your shoulder blades and elbows are locked, and your shoulder blades are pulling down and back. From there, we set our hips back. We're going to go down in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and come back up. 3, 2, 1, and drive back up. Core tight, constantly pushing up on the bar. 30 seconds of those with a 3-second descent. You should be able to get out about 8 or 9 of those in your 30 seconds. Okay. From there, let's warm up the hip bridge and the floor press movement. So we're going to start with the hip bridge. So seated on the floor, feet about the width of your hips, feet slightly in front of your knees. We're going to ask you to simply explode by pushing off your heels, squeezing your hips and glutes, your hips up to the ceiling. Let's hold this for about 10 seconds or so, and then come down nice and slow. I'd like you to do 3 of those, holding for 10 seconds, really trying to press the hips as high to the ceiling as you can. From there, we're going to look at the floor press with the hip bridge. So I'm going to take a dumbbell. I'm going to bring it into my pressing position. When we press, the tricep, the back of the arm is flush on the floor. We're going to do just some presses without the hip bridge first. We're going to press the weight up. We can rotate the dumbbell to face forward and then bring it back down so it's facing into the body, which is a little healthier for your shoulder. Let's do about 6 or 8 presses on each arm. And once you've done that, now what I want to do is practice the press with the hip bridge. So I'm going to drive my hips nice and high. My hips are locked, my glutes are tight, and I'm going to put the 2 pieces together. I'm going to press to a lockout, keeping that hip bridge at that full extension the whole time. I'm going to do a few on each arm to get a feel for the movement. Really working hard at keeping these hips and glutes nice and stable. Working hard at taking that press and locking it up. Okay, so 2 or 3 hip bridges, some presses without the hip bridge, and then some presses with the hip bridge. Okay, so once we have that out of the way, let's look at the anchored leg raise movement. I'm going to put these 2 dumbbells behind me. I'm going to use the handles of the dumbbells as an anchor. If you are going to use 2 dumbbells, you just need to make sure they're heavy enough that when you anchor yourself on them, they don't go rolling, because if they're not heavy enough, they won't really hold you down. So if we were doing a hollow crunch, we would reach the arms and extend them back. We would lift up on the chest. So right now, my palms are under the dumbbell. Again, this can be a couch, this can be a desk, this could be any surface that's slightly elevated off the floor. By pressing up on my chest, I'm engaging my lats. By engaging my lats, I'm pushing my belly button and rib cage down into the floor. From here, with your legs squeezing, butt tight, thighs tight, we're going to raise the hips and the heels up into the sky, and then 3, 2, 1, use the core muscles and hip muscles to come back down. So if you were hanging from a pull-up bar, this would be an L raise where we control what the trunk and torso are doing. The whole time we're still pushing on whatever we're anchoring on. So I'm pushing up on the dumbbells. I'm still pushing up on the dumbbells. 3, 2, 1. I'm still pushing up on the dumbbells. So all the muscles in my lats and my core are super tight. The downward portion of this should be much more challenging than the upward portion. And remember, you're going down nice and slow, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, keeping everything tight, okay? So let's practice about 8 or 10 of those, and just warm those up. And last thing we need to look at will be that dumbbell snatch from the hang, or clean, if you're going to clean it instead of snatch it. Again, 50 pounds for the men, 35 for the ladies, but pick anything that is appropriate for you. So when we go to the snatch movement, we're going to alternate. So I'm going to start in between my stance. I'm going to push those hips back. I'm going to keep the back nice and flat. Remember, we extend, we shrug, and then we pull the body under the weight. So I'll do a few alternating snatches. Let's say I did a clean instead. I'll just bring the shoulder under it. So notice we're keeping the weight into the body by pulling the shoulder blade back. We're keeping everything nice and vertical. So do about 10 or 12 reps of your snatch or of your dumbbell clean, okay? Okay, so those are all the movements for this workout. Okay, the last movement we need to warm up is that 8-count bodybuilder movement. So it's gonna look like this. I'll talk you through it. It starts like a burpee would. We're going to do count number 1 to the floor, 2, kick back, 3 is down on a push-up, 4 is up on a push-up, 5, legs out, 6, legs in, 7, jump back, 8, stand up. So again, in real time, 1, 2, push up, 4, out, in, jump, stand. So those will be your 8-count man makers. So really it's like a no push-up, or excuse me, no burpee push-up, but you have that lateral, jump the legs out, jump the legs back together movement. When you do the leg movement, make sure you're not allowing everything to just plummet to the floor, meaning keep a good plank position, squeeze the butt, squeeze the legs. We don't want to see those hips really sag. We want to see a nice straight line through the body. So I'd like you to practice 5 or 6 of those, just finding the rhythm and finding the control of that movement. Okay. So once we're done with that warm up, let's look at the workout. We have 2 parts. The first part, we said we have 4 rounds of work. We're going to do 8 to 12 reps per set of 3 different movements. The 3 different movements were that floor press, in that hip extension position, holding that position really tight the whole time. You're doing that 8 to 12 reps per arm, so you may want to do one arm and then take a small break and then do the other arm. The next movement is that tempo overhead squat. We said we're going to lock that barbell or object out. We're going to descend in 3 seconds. It's nice and smooth and controlled. We're going to hit the bottom and we're going to drive out. 8 to 12 reps there. Last movement, we're going to do that anchored leg raise where we latch onto that shelf or a couch or dumbbells or whatever you have. You're going to hollow your belly nice and tight. You're going to use that power from the lats and the core to bring those legs and hips nice and tall, straight up in the air into sort of an L position. And then you're going to use those core muscles and lat muscles to slowly control over 3 seconds the torso and the legs back down to the floor. So 8 to 12 reps there. So what we're really looking for is for in round 1, you pick a weight that is pretty manageable, you know you'll be able to do 12 reps with. But if you have the ability, the strength, and the weights available to go heavier each round, that would be the goal here. That's why we said 8 to 12 reps, because maybe in round 1 it's 12, and maybe round 2 it's 11, and by round 3 and 4 you're lucky to be eking out 10 and 8 reps of each movement, right? Better to do something that's a lot more challenging physically, but do a few less reps, than to do a lot more that aren't really like pushing your edge. Okay, so you have 4 rounds. You will definitely want to be resting in between each movement. So We're asking you to probably take about a 30-second to 60-second rest in between each movement. So after the floor presses and before the squats, and after the squats, before the anchored leg raises. 30 seconds if you're not really using a heavy load or you don't feel overly fatigued, but probably more realistic is taking closer to that minute rest, especially if you're moving heavier weights and using lots of control. This is going to be a tiring workout. That little bit of rest is going to help you do well at the remaining movements. All right, so that'll be your first workout. After you're done with that and you take a few minutes to recover, we're going to go to that second workout where we're going to do 6 rounds. Each round is going to have 16 alternating dumbbell snatches or cleans from the hang. Whichever movement you want to do is fine. And you're going to pair that with 8 of those bodybuilder movements, the 8-count bodybuilder that we just warmed up. So 16 alternating snatches or cleans, 8 bodybuilders, mandatory 1-minute rest when you're done with that. We want you to push your edge on that 16 and 8 and really put everything you have into it, rest a minute, and keep repeating that for 6 rounds. Couple scaling options. Scale down the reps a little bit, so if 16 or 8 are too many, cut a couple out, that's totally fine. That way you can get through the work a little faster. Also, cap yourself at maybe 14 or 15 minutes. For some of you, 5 rounds of work might be enough. Some of you might be able to get 6 rounds done. Okay, so 6 rounds, 16 reps of the snatch, 8 reps of the 8-count bodybuilder. That's going to be a pretty fatiguing workout. Again, work hard, lots of structure, lots of control in that workout. Try to keep your energy from set 1 all the way up to sets 5 and 6. Pretty consistent. Try not to fall apart. It's going to be challenging in the later rounds for you. Right? So let us know how you did with this workout. Take some pictures, videos, throw them on social media for us. You can hashtag us at CFSD Strong. Right? So have a good workout. Hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you next time.